All right, here we go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to AutoConverse. You are tuned in right now to AutoConverse on air, future mobility and connectivity, live weekly broadcast. Today is September 12th, 2018. I am Ryan Girardi, and as you can see from the graphic on our screen, we have Amanda Ryan and Cameron Moore joining us in just a few moments from Build a Brand, and also with us today is Terry Lancaster from the Get You Some radio show. If you haven't checked that out, Terry does a weekly interview with some great personalities, and you definitely want to check out the Get You Some radio show, which you can probably find on your preferred podcasting app if you're into podcasting. Hey, Build a Brand recently announced the successful completion of a year-long beta test with select top auto dealers utilizing its proprietary engagement platform. In a few minutes, when we bring Amanda and Cameron on, we'll have a chance to talk about that and understand exactly what that means. Before I get started, I want to switch my screen over and do a couple of quick announcements and thank today's sponsors. So give me a second here. There we go. All right. So I'll get more into this at the end. Once everybody leaves, I'll get more into detail. But Vehicle Acquisition Network has been partnered with us now for over 2 years, and we thank them for their support. And Vehicle Acquisition Network focuses on connecting private sellers with dealers, or I like to say dealers with private sellers. Their platform is designed to help dealers that want a proactive strategy for acquiring used vehicles off the street to be more profitable. Now, we've had Vehicle Acquisition Network do a couple of webinars with us, but I'm happy to announce a brand new program that we're introducing called the AC Mastermind Series. And you can see here on autoconversion.net, if you go to the education tab, there's a new sequence or series of programs that we're conducting. So you see self-marketing and branding, used car marketing, advanced auto retail, and video marketing as well. All of these geared for the auto retail. If you look for the used car marketing strategies, click on there. It'll bring you over to here. We're conducting our first event tomorrow. Same time, same place. So tomorrow at noon, I've got Ricky Bomar, Aaron Gomez, and Brent Farron. They're all buyers for their dealerships that they work at. And we're gonna have a nice conversation about the used car business and the wholesale markets. And you can take part in that the same way you're doing now. You can watch live from YouTube, from our YouTube channel, or if you want to join us backstage here on the Zoom part and participate in the Q&A, then you can sign up right here. That'll send you your access information to join us on the Zoom. And once you sign up, you're always enrolled, and you'll always be guaranteed a spot on upcoming events. We'll do about one a month, maybe about every 4 to 6 weeks. And that series is geared specifically around the used car business. And that'll be brought to you by Vehicle Acquisition Network. So again, I'll get more into some of that later, and you'll get an email that looks about like this. And you'll get that every month or every time we schedule something new. And then last but not least, if you check out the calendars, the new calendar on the site right here, that'll show you all the events that we have lined up, and you can click on each one and see who's in there. So there you go. You got Amanda and Cameron and Terry in there as well. So, hey guys, why don't we go ahead and get those cameras on, bring you on screen, and we'll get this show started. What's going on?
Hey.
Hello. Hey.
So Amanda helped coordinate this. Amanda and Cameron are from Build a Brand, and some of you that watch here, I'm going to check out the YouTube comments in a minute, but Amanda and I have done a lot of streaming and live streaming together over the past few years, back in our Periscope and Blab days. But this is our first AutoConverse on air session together. So Amanda, it's just awesome to have you here live.
Right. I'm so happy to be here. I mean, I always love being a part of your community. And so I'm really glad to be finally a guest.
Amanda is a huge supporter of everybody out there that does live streaming. I think most everybody. She follows Auto Dealer Live. I think I see you on Frank Lopes Live a lot. And so, yeah, welcome to your first on-air session. Terry, Cameron, great to have you guys here as well.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother.
You too. So, all right, we're going to talk about, look, I set it up, the way I labeled the show, today's topic was risk, reward, and consequence in branding. And I had mentioned to everybody, I brought up the new Nike ad with Colin Kaepernick. And Nike is a huge household brand. Been around for decades. They do great commercials, right? They have great ad campaigns. They always have a spokesman. And now they bring on Colin Kaepernick, which clearly is kind of I would say, a gamble. It's a risk. And taking a risk with your brand can have unintended consequences for sure. Now, it's been about a week, and they've already got announcements out that sales are up, and it's due to the ads. So I'd love to get a brief conversation around that, and we'll segue that into branding at the dealer level. Amanda, looks like you are eager to chime in here. So what are your thoughts around the gamble that Nike's taking on that ad campaign?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think we're pretty much all having to gamble with our brands these days due to the fact that we have to narrow in so much of what our actual brand message is. And in doing so, that we actually attract those customers or clients that share the same message. And in doing so, we have more loyal customers and less turnover. So I guess the proof in the pudding here is that Nike really went after it and created some buzz, because negative attention is still attention. And obviously that was their message, is that this is what they believe in. And those who connect would also be a part of what they're doing. So, I mean, if we look at it, yeah, it's definitely a risk, because you're looking at exclusivity here. We're cutting some of the audience out, but we're actually also focusing in on people who really love Nike, people who really believe in their brand. And so, of course, there's always that, I guess, risk, but that's just what branding's about, right? And sticking to who you are, because you're literally the brand. And with Nike, that's who they've been and always been. So I think, for instance, with this specific campaign, that it kind of shows everybody how much branding and marketing has changed.
Sure.
Ultimately.
Terry, you've been in the advertising business for 20, 30 plus years.
Yeah, all the time.
Can you imagine? I'm imagining two things. The corporate side of Nike putting this concept together, I'm sure there was pushback internally that this is not a good direction. But then going into the ad agency and the creative side, can you, coming from your position, can you imagine what that process might have been like?
Well, yeah, one word to describe it would be uncomfortable. It was extremely uncomfortable for whoever brought that. But I think the takeaway for us today, as we're talking about personal branding, especially for salespeople at the dealership level, is that the good stuff happens outside your comfort zone. I'm sure the powers that be in the board of directors weren't comfortable with all the heat that they were going to take from this, and they knew everything was going to blow up on Facebook, and they knew what was going to happen. And that was uncomfortable for them. Just like, I'm talking to salespeople every day that are uncomfortable creating videos or putting their face out there or talking about their personal lives on Facebook. But at some point, you have to step beyond your comfort zone to make things happen. Now, Nike could have sat back and kept running pictures of Michael Jordan for the next 40 years until he was a 180-year-old man, but eventually they'd have lost their audience, but they had to do something different to make something happen. And that's where we're at today in the car business. We have to do something different to make something happen, because the way we used to sell cars and the way we sell cars today don't have anything at all to do with each other.
Michael Jordan in his underwear always made me uncomfortable, but as an old man, that it could make me even more.
You've ruined that image. That might have trouble getting that one out of my head now.
That's good. Amanda, I like what you said, that they anticipate they're going to lose some audience, but the gamble is they're going to gain more audience despite that. And obviously only time will tell, but you're probably right. I mean, just because you disagree with the political stance of their spokesman, does that mean you're going to get rid of the product and kick it out the door? I mean, Cameron, you're going to go burn your Nike shoes because you don't like what a spokesperson stands for?
Honestly, no. I'm gonna keep those because they help me run faster. And since I was a little kid, I've always thought that, and I'm going to continue to run and wear my Nike socks. And no, me personally, I'm not, but that's other people trying to make their own statements. Freedom of speech. I guess they can do what they would like, right? According to the law.
So good points there, man. I like what you say there. I'd like to use that as in a segue and get in the conversation around branding at the dealer level. I put out there that I can't imagine a dealer taking that kind of a gamble. Would an OEM take that kind of gamble? I don't know, Terry. Could you see an OEM taking that kind of a gamble with their brand?
Well, I think the car business, they understand that things are changing, and OEMs are taking huge chances right now. Hyundai's partnered up with Amazon to sell cars with one click on Amazon to sell cars, and Ford just announced this weekend a new dealer direct complete digital platform where you can buy online. So the car business is in such turmoil that they're taking dramatic changes like that. Now maybe they're not going to put Colin Kaepernick on the front of an F-150. I don't think that's going to play, but they're making dramatic changes because again the world has changed so much in the way cars have to be sold that they have to stir the pot.
Just a comment here from Rockstar Auto Conference, probably Chris. I imagine that's you, Chris Spear, unless it's you, Matt Koenig. He says, Nike made a genius move with the controversy and they're getting tons of free exposure. Amanda, you pointed that out, that negative exposure is still exposure. Brands and corporations understand that at the legal sense, that sometimes even having negative publicity. Not always, but can work here.
Well, I mean, we got to keep into account here that we have to consider it being a strategy, not just like, oh, let's just drum up something negative. It has to be literally a well thought out strategy that doesn't actually fully hurt the intention or your reputation as a whole. So that's
great point. When it comes to branding, you need to have a strategy. You need to know how it dials in. Let's use that. You guys have a press release. Build a Brand brings revolutionary tech to the auto industry with the launch of their proprietary engagement platform. Amanda, give us the overview. What is the proprietary engagement platform and why is it revolutionary?
Okay, so I'm kind of expecting a drum roll. So love it. Okay.
We'll put the special effects in later.
Right? So basically what we're doing as Build a Brand is we have been in a beta process where we've had very well-known dealerships try out our proprietary app suite and platform. And what they've noticed is that there has been great success. And as we have noticed as well, Cameron has been amazing at and helping us make sure that we launch good and everything. So I really have to give a shout out to Cameron here. And I noticed that my sister's in the chat, Erin, as well. Because what's up, Erin? So yeah, basically it's because and the reason why is because it's the people behind this that have actually made this come to fruition. And the launch of it is so that we rolled out nationally, that everybody has access to it now and can purchase it. And we have obviously encouraged that. There's not a great deal of information that people don't necessarily already know if they have been to our website or know much about branding, but we do make salespeople's lives interesting. And of course, not only are we innovative, but we're also not disruptive to the dealer process. So these are the apps and great websites and so on that Build a Brand offers so that you as a salesperson or manager of a dealership can now purchase too.
Well, thank you, Amanda. And Cameron, why don't we shift over to you? And
Yes,
being an end user, you got into the car business in 2016, correct?
I sure did. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you came from the sales side, but you got yourself into the car business. And from what you shared with me, because we're in a high tech world, you immediately became overwhelmed with the amount or the number of tools that you had to use to generate and manage your leads. Maybe you could speak to that, and also maybe as a segue, is fill us in how you got into the car business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I use several different apps. My Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I started getting into Pinterest, and then I wanted to use different things to get my name out there because I came into a place that had a lot of great salespeople, in a town where everyone bought from the same car from the same person for 20 to 30 years. So I kept thinking, what do I do to differentiate myself? How can I stand out? What's so special about Cameron Moore? Right? I'm a nobody. Well, I mean, I cheered in college. I was in a fraternity. Well, that makes me someone. So I wanted to find a way that I could make everyone know who I was and that they knew why they should come see me because I provide an experience. And I think that's a key word that everyone should probably really focus on when branding. Like an experience is so powerful because if you came and bought a car from me and I just sold you the car and left and that's it, it's a lot different from you coming and buying a car from me and I have a beverage ready for you. I have a sign in the window saying a VIP reserved for, and rolling out the red carpet when you leave. Like that right there is memorable. And we take for granted because we sell cars every day that it's something that, oh, it's just another car. Well, that's where you lose because you need to think of it as a relationship where you're going to continue to build that, relationship because they're going to want another car. 2.5, 3 years, they'll want one. Their kids want one. Their mom, someone's going to want one. So if you do something like that, that makes a huge difference. And getting into, going to the beginning when I first started the car industry, I was first off not going to be like any other salesperson. My father-in-law said, "Well, why don't you go work at this store?" And I said, "Well, here's the thing, I'm not going to be a car guy because I think of the car guy as the old mustache. Someone's trying to take my money." And that's what I feel like most consumers tend to look at it as. And then so I applied for the job and I didn't get it at first, and I'll
Did
tell
he
you,
like twist your arm? Like he's like, "Yeah, you gotta apply for the job." Like, because you just said
no,
you were gonna
not at
do it,
all,
but then you did it.
not at all. But it was the only thing I could see myself doing in the town that I was at to actually
Mhm.
make the kind of money I wanted to make. Because keep in mind, at this point in time, I'm having a wife that I'm about to marry, okay, and then shortly after we're gonna have a baby on the way, right? I'm building a picture, a movie for you, because this is where it gets fun. Because I get into sales, and I'm selling Hyundais. Well, and in North Texas town, most of the time people are like, "I ain't buying a foreign car," and I'm like, "These are amazing cars." So I struggle. I mean, I'm struggling and having to go home to my wife that is pregnant, saying, "Sorry, I didn't sell a car today." You know how hard that is to look your wife in the eyes and say, I can't do my job right." Then I'd sell a little bit, and I was looking at all these people selling 20 to 30 cars. What are they doing? What's To me? I feel like I'm running around. I know the product, but the problem is I wasn't building relationships. I was working hard on social media, push marketing, but I wasn't doing it right. I didn't know who my target market was. To me, anyone that walked in the door, you looked me in the eyes. I was like, "You want to buy a car?" Like that's what I thought, and that's just not what it is. And I finally started to get it, and I did a lot of research, and I looked up, people that are speaking that I wanted to, watch and be able to listen to what they were doing and implement what I was doing. And I found it. And so my wife and I saved up money. I had birthday money. I'm saving up to spend $1,200 to go to a conference that lasted one day. And in that conference, that's where I met the great gentleman, Brian Chapman, that changed my life. And I mean, it's phenomenal. I go there, I learned amazing stuff. I have 20 pages of notes to this day. Started to do videos when I came back, started to do videos, did hashtag dashcam diaries. And I just wanted to get testimonials of my clients in the heat of the moment. That was the most important thing because I can take a photo, but oh man, that's cool. If I did a video with my client saying, buying in the past was terrible, and even if it was great, I always complimented the salesperson that helped them because I think it's phenomenal. And then how is it buying today? Your experience. I always use the word experience. And then if you have family and friends in the future want to look for a car, would you recommend them? So that's what I did. I found my niche, and one took off in particular. Mama Morgan, I love this lady to death to this day. She and I got in a car and did a live video, and oh my gosh, it blew up. Like it was phenomenal. I got 4 referrals off that video. They all sold. I got like 15 shares, 2.7 thousand views in like 12 hours. And that was like, man, like, okay, I like this. But I want everyone to know that's watching, it wasn't easy starting videos. Please don't think Cameron got up there and was like, "I'm like Brad Pitt today. Well, no, because I'm 5'5"
Really?
and I'm not Brad Pitt. My first video was terrible. I was terrified. It was not good at all, and I didn't know what I was doing. And that's why I think it's great to see this, because leading up to, what changed my whole entire life was finding me on the search to find something that could literally make my life easier. Do you know how hard it is to log into 5 to 7 different apps every single day to do what I need to do? And then always remember, oh, dang, did I do it to that one? Did I log in and post it? Like, it's so stressful. And then you're always told when you first start the business, you're in business for yourself. Try telling a guy that's coming out of college that's, have a wife that's pregnant, you need a prospect. What is prospecting? I have a criminal justice degree. I know what a criminal is. I don't know what a prospect is. And, all this lingo, and it was very, very tough, very challenging being around great salespeople that have done this for a long time. And they always said it takes 3 years to get repeat referrals, right?
Right.
Well, I had 3 weeks, or
Yeah,
what?
not Cameron.
Well, I really, if you look at it, you have a time period before they say, sorry, you don't cut it. Well, I needed something. And that leads into the next question that you'll ask later, but it's good.
Well, Cameron, there are 3 takeaways I got from what you shared there. And one of them is reflected here in a comment from Matt and Chris at Rockstar. You speak to about creating an awesome experience. You learned early on that you had to build relationships, and you were going to do that by creating an awesome experience. Rockstar says, create an awesome experience and you'll build a loyal following of people that send you referrals who will trust you more than any walk-up ever will. So you knew you had to create an experience, and you knew that you needed to tell your story, not your background, not your life story, but you needed to tell a story that could help shoppers connect with you. And then the third thing I heard you speak to, which we can get into a little bit more, it was the efficiency aspect. You had all these tools and information and contacts, and you're managing in different places, and you needed a place to consolidate those. But Terry, I want to hear more of your voice back there, because you have so much experience to draw from. Here's Cameron coming into the car business, 3 years ago, right, where we have all this technology, but the fundamentals of selling cars doesn't necessarily change. It comes down to relationships, referrals, and connecting with people and being an advocate for them. Can you give us some contrast in your experience coming from your neck of the woods on the advertising side, and how you've seen things evolve or stay the same for dealers on how they reach and connect with customers?
They've changed so dramatically. There's been a sea change in the way human beings communicate and in the way we buy things because of the internet. People go to the internet to start things now, but things have stayed the same as much as they've changed. We talked about strategy before and how Nike did this as a strategy and not a tactic. It wasn't something they threw up to create a buzz. It was part of some overarching strategy that they've got. And I think as salespeople, we have to remember what the strategy is, what the big picture. And just like Cameron said, the big picture is building relationships. And it's easy to get lost in the weeds of, how many lives am I going to post today? Am I going to post on Pinterest? Am I going to, how many tweets am I going to send out today? And it's easy to get lost in the tactics. And it's easy for people who aren't experienced in it to kind of push it to the side because they don't understand the tactics or they don't want to think about the tactics. But you just think about the strategy, and the strategy has stayed the same since time immemorial. And that is build relationships. And 30, 40 years ago, the best salesperson at every dealership was a guy who sat in the corner and he had this green recipe box full of index cards. And those index cards had every person that he had ever met on there, and it had their birthday and had their anniversary and it had their kid's birthday. And he sold out of that thing because he had people come in and to see him every day. And that's still how the best salespeople work today. They work off their book of business that they've built over these years. But like Cameron said, if you got 3 weeks instead of 3 years, fortunately, every salesperson watching has the world's greatest connectivity device in their pocket at their hands. And Facebook and your phone is the world's greatest CRM. It's like that little recipe box that used to sit on the desk, multiplied times 1,000,000, because you can reach the universe and form intimate human connections with people in your local community, thousands of them at a faster rate than was ever possible before. If you just think, you realize that you're doing the exact same thing with your phone that Joe used to do with his index cards in the corner. And that's building relationships, reaching out and touching people and becoming a part of their lives.
Tara, I just want to add to that. It's great. But as you spoke to the technology that's available to make the, connecting with customers and the technology to share tell your story and services, everybody has access to these tools now too.
Absolutely.
So now it's even harder because everyone has access to the same things that you do. So while the fundamentals remain the same, the technologies evolve, but that gives everybody that edge and just makes it that much more difficult, which I think goes back to, Cameron, what you said, which is not everybody wants to be on video. We had Bowtie Terrence and El Patron on last week. And here's two guys that are part of a very small pack in the auto space that are picking up those cameras and getting in front of those cameras and being, whether it's transparent or vulnerable or authentic or artistic. Bowtie is creating some great art in what he does. And not everybody is going to do that. But if you can get yourself some sort of edge from others, that is going to be more and more necessary. I would think it's more and more necessary.
Yeah, I'd definitely say not now. They're not going to do it now, but I think that, we can continue to think that, our world's not changing and that things are going to be the same like they were 30 years ago. But in reality, our world's changing every day. And so if we don't adapt, then we're going to be obsolete.
And I just want to add to the process, because I think we're also living in confusing times, whereas we look at convenience and we look at self-management and we look at, the process to be easy, simple, but it can sometimes be confused with rushed. And we definitely don't want to rush the process. We want to make sure that we take time with our customers, not only to build that relationship, but to ensure that we're meeting or exceeding their needs, to create an experience that they not only want, but want to talk about, as well as our posts, what we put online. We have to take the time to do that because there's a lot of automation that happens too. And we don't want to get confused there with, okay, there's no personality here. Where's the personality? So I like, again, we're living kind of a confusing time, but if you break it down and make a strategy that works with your personality, try different things. Some things you might actually surprise you that work, and make sure that you're genuine. Don't go on and be like, oh, well, I guess I'll be, sock Fred when all you really ever do is wear flip-flops. So be flip-flop Fred. And so I mean, let's just look at that and make sure that you're taking time for your customers, both online and off, and paying attention, real close attention to the details.
Mike Phillips, who's chiming in with great comments here. Mike, I love what you say. When we were kids, we didn't, quote unquote, build relationships. We just made friends. Sometimes we overthink it. The fundamental is to make a lot of friends. Just really good advice there. And I'm seeing your guys' comments here that you can't like comments, which means you're from Facebook.
Right? Who isn't?
Amanda and I had a nice friendly debate about whether to stream on YouTube or Facebook. And what I explained, and I appreciate everybody that's here live watching on YouTube. What I explained is that from a broadcaster standpoint, I found the streaming experience better on YouTube. It's just a more efficient.
No, Phillips, multi-stream. I'm with Phillips.
Hey, if Phillips wants to take over AutoConverse on air and multi-stream, Mike, you are welcome to be our official broadcaster. Mike Phillips is amazing. This guy does two lead the team streams on multi-streams every week. And then every morning, Monday through Friday, gets up and does morning verses with Mike. And it's just amazing. Phenomenal. And hats off to you, Mike, because you've given me so many good little subtle tips and ideas on how
you and I, we actually changed his middle name to Ryan, just because that's how close all three of us have become.
Mike Ryan Phillips.
We can't leave him out.
And Terry, you do a live. You don't do yours live, do you?
I don't do mine live. I'm old school. I do it, record it, so I can go in and edit and do some playing with it. And and actually release. And it takes a little of the pressure off. And I'm Mr. Casual, so I don't like the pressure of everyone showing up at 11:59, Amanda, and
Who?
So yeah, I record the Get You Some radio show and then spread it all over the universe from there.
And where can people go to learn more about your show and tune in?
Well, you want to find out anything about me, Google me. Google's my business card, so I can't hide from the mafia if I owe anybody money. But to Get You Some radio shows at terrylancaster.tv. You can watch it there. You can watch it on YouTube. You can stream it on iTunes and Google and Stitcher and pretty much anywhere.
Well, you guys, thank you for getting on here. I told you it goes quick, but it's just great to hear, share your experiences and hear your wisdom. Appreciate you coming up here and sharing that.
Thanks, Ryan.
And folks, we're going to go ahead and let Terry and Cameron and Amanda go. And just a couple of announcements. So Build a Brand recently partnered on with our platform, and we have a live web chat scheduled with Build a Brand CEO Brian Chapman, and that's coming in a couple of weeks. In fact, let me reshare my screen here. Hold on. And I'll show you where you can go. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. So if you go back to that education tab on autoconversion.net, you'll see one of our series is self-marketing and branding. Self-marketing, branding, and social selling. So every month or so, we'll get a roundtable / mastermind webinar going, and then once in a while, like coming up, we'll have guest presenters come on. So Brian Chapman from Build a Brand is going to come and share a story. We'll have the date of that real soon. We're just making some adjustments there. Again, look for the calendar option so that you can see everything we have going on month to month. If you're interested in getting on one of our discussions, whether it's live like this on air or video marketing or advanced retail marketing, whatever, let me know. We'd love to have you up here sharing your thoughts, sharing your experience, and be part of this experience. We record these, and then what we do is we release them out into the AutoConverse podcast. So go to autoconverse.com. There's a link to the podcast, or just go to podcast.autoconverse.com or search for AutoConverse in your preferred podcasting app, and you will catch that. I recommend subscribing to the AutoConversion YouTube channel, which you can find right here on our site. You can subscribe there. All of our live streams will be done through our company page. And that way, our live streams are all coming from one source. AutoConverse has its own YouTube channel. We'll record these videos from AutoConverse and put them up there, but not everything we do will go up there. In fact, in a couple of weeks, we're rolling out a brand new podcast called White Collar Therapy, which you'll be seeing some information about that real soon. And that is geared for business-minded professionals looking to enhance their careers from the inside out. So, folks, I'm going to call it a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Again, Terry, Amanda, and Cameron, appreciate you guys coming on board today, and we'll look forward to having you guys on more frequently as well. So have a great rest of the week. Happy hump day. And we're going to go ahead and shut this down. And we'll see you back here next week. I got Big Tom LaPointe coming back on, who hasn't been on air since we launched in March. He helped us get Refresh Friday launched last year. And then he helped me get AutoConverse on air launched. Then he had to kind of duck out for a little bit. But Tom's got some new developments going on in his life and his career. And so he's going to come on and share those with us. So look for us, same time, same place. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. We'll see you soon.